Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez, and today I have a very special guest with me. I have Michael Leavy here, who is the writer, director, producer of the upcoming horror film Stream, which will be in theaters starting on August 21st. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be talking with you today, and I'm excited to get to it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here. I know you have a very busy schedule with the movie coming out literally next week. Are you excited for this release?
Oh, yeah, I'm beyond excited. We've waited a really long time for this to come to fruition. It's a few years in the process. Wrote the film back in 2015, 2016, around there. And obviously, through shooting the Terrifier movies and COVID, and there was a lot going on in between. But it's finally ready and it's finally coming out, and it's really, really, really an honor and really exciting, especially that it's coming out into theaters. That's something we never expected.
Yeah, and I'm very excited because I go to AMC and a lot of the times they don't get the indie horror films that I want to see, but I checked and they're going to have showings of it at AMC. So I'm very happy to see that AMC is going to be showing it as well.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I keep telling everybody it's very important to get your pre-sale tickets if you can, because here's what it is with these theaters, and this is why I guess AMC and Regal, we're just learning this now, is that they take a chance on these indie films, and then if they don't end up seeing that the theaters are going to get some seats in them, then what happens is the big studios start pressuring them, and they try to take away those time slots to get their bigger movies in, which is disheartening because most people don't buy pre-sale tickets, right? We all just figure out what day we're going to go and we go see them. Unfortunately, with some of the independent lower budget films, we don't get to have that luxury, because if they don't see anything's kind of popping, they go they'll pull it. Not saying that'll happen, but
Yeah.
it is possible too, which is scary. So that's why I keep just saying, don't even give them a reason to. If you want to see the movie and you're going to see it, definitely get your pre-sale tickets for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I am so excited for this film. For people who haven't had a chance to check out the trailer, can you give a little bit of a description of what the film is about?
Sure. It's a movie about a family at the core, and they're having some problems, and they try to recreate a vacation from their past to kind of mend, what's going on. And they go to this hotel, and what happens is the hotel ends up getting locked down, and you can't escape it. And there are four serial killers that are competing for the most creative, craziest kills of all the guests. And obviously, there's some twists and turns from there. But again, it's a really fun movie. It's an exciting movie, and that's kind of what I want everybody to take away from it. It's got the gore, it's got some laughs, it's got obviously some really good character development, and emotional moments. But then obviously it's got the scares, and it's got the excitement, it's got the action. So it's a movie I'm very proud of. The finished product, and the cast is just unbelievable. We got Jeffrey Combs from The Reanimator. We have Danielle Harris from Halloween, Hatchet. We have Tim Reed, who hasn't done a horror film since Stephen King's It. He came back, loved the script. Dee Wallace, David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown himself, Bill Moseley, Felissa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Mark Colton from Leprechaun. So we have a really great cast for anybody who loves horror, especially anybody who loves horror from like the end of the 70s to like the mid 90s.
Yeah, I was looking at the IMDb of the entire cast, and like you just mentioned a ton of them, but there are some horror icons from Tony Todd, David, Howard Thornton, like you mentioned, Dee Wallace. What was it like getting to direct and work with this incredible talent?
It was a dream come true growing up, being a horror fan myself. These were people that I really enjoyed seeing their movies, and as a kid growing up, and it really was an incredible thing, because they're people we idolize, right? And just to be able to work with them and also pick their brains, and get to have them a part of our story, it was so exciting. And the little kid inside of me was just super stoked. And I'm really proud of what we ended up doing together. And I'll tell you this right now, I'll go on record saying I think this is Jeffrey Combs' top three performances of his entire career, may even be his top two. And I'll leave it up to other people to decide if it's his number one, but it's definitely in the top three for sure. And I can't wait for everybody to see him as Mr. Lockwood in Stream.
Oh, that is great to hear. Who was the first person that you cast in this film, and did you write any of these parts with these particular actors in mind?
So the first person that was cast was actually a buddy of mine, Danny Roebuck. And Danny Roebuck, for anybody who doesn't know the name, you'll know his face. He's in like everything. He was in the Fugitive. He was in Lost. He was Grandpa Munster and Rob Zombie's The Munsters. He's in a lot of Rob Zombie stuff. Really, really great actor. And I worked on a movie with him with Tyler Mane where he played my father called Penance Lane. And so Danny was the first one to come on board, and Tim Reed was actually the second. And then everyone else kind of followed from there. So some of them, yeah, we did have in mind that we knew we wanted to play the role, like Jeffrey Combs, we knew that we wanted for Mr. Lockwood. Then there were others that we didn't particularly write for them, but we knew that they would be perfect for the role. So we targeted them after, we were starting to compile a list. And that's something I'm super proud of too. There's a lot of these movies that are gimmicky films that kind of will try to have this ensemble cast in the past, and they'll be on screen for a half a second, and then as horror fans, we're not really satisfied. We feel kind of robbed from oh, you market whatever Tony Todd or Jeffrey Combs or Felissa Rose, and then you see them, and then there's like a line, and it's like where'd they go? They weren't even essential to the story. So I'm really proud that we were able to work everybody that's a part of this really into the story, and that they were cast to be characters in the movie. They weren't just cast for their names. They were cast for their performancing, for their acting abilities, and then obviously just so happened that they're horror icons. So it just made it even better, the way this all kind of unfolded.
Oh, that is great news to hear. One of the things that really stood out to me was the title of the film. It's just one word. It's simple. It's Stream. But I feel like there's something already horror about just that single word. How did you come up with that for the title of the film? And what do you think? Maybe because it sounds like Scream, or I don't know. There's just something about it that sounds horror to me.
There is, and that's why we stuck with it. And it's tough because stream, that word is just so out there. It's like Halloween, and it's like, in the sense of like it's a word that already exists for something. It's not like Terrifier where it's easy to find. So, on one side, we stuck with the name because there's something about it that just is captivating and feels so cynical and feels so horror-esque. And that's really why and it explains the story once you see it unfold really, really, really well. And it was the only thing that we just kept coming back to and saying, like, this perfectly has the right vibe and feel. And also it's modern, right? Streaming and all that platforming, So we just kept coming back to it, even though we knew it was going to be a little hard to differentiate and find. If you want to find stream movie, well, every movie that you can stream comes up. And it's like stream horror movie, and then every horror movie you can stream. So it's a little hard right now to kind of find. And I think that's kind of why it's a little difficult for us to get the word out about the movie and kind of raise that awareness. But now it's finally starting to enter into the more the more mainstream people are starting to hear about it. And then obviously, like I said, I think it fits the film. We really liked how it sounds. And if this becomes a franchise, that's not up to us, that's up to you guys, the fans, to tell us if you like it and demand one. We have ideas that I hope we can explore, but again, it's not up to us to do that. But eventually it'll be Stream 2 or Stream 3, and then it'll be really easy to find. So we stuck with our our guns on this one, even though it might not initially pay off in the beginning in the searches. Eventually it'll all fit and fall into place.
Oh, that's great. So I absolutely love Horror Vibes Coffee, and I saw that you guys have a collaboration with them right now, and they're going to be selling a energy-infused raspberry lemonade. How did that collaboration come about?
I'm a big fan of Horror Vibes Coffee as well. I've known about them for a few years. They have a Terrifier mural up in the shop, and they've been very supportive of us. And I actually had never been there until last year. Oh, not last year, like maybe 3 months ago, actually. I finally went in there, and they were so cool and they were so great. I met the owners of the shop, and again, as a horror fan, I was like in heaven, and it was like, this is so cool, this is awesome. And we got to know them a little bit, and when we were talking about Stream, they were really excited. They said, hey, what if we get together on this, and maybe we can do something and help promote the movie. And so they worked with us closely about how the drink can be in line with the film. And that's what I really like about them too, is that they really try to take what their drinks are and try to really give it a personality that matches the quality and the content of the movie. And Tuesday, I don't know if you're in the LA, California, Burbank area, it seems like you might be. Tuesday, Felissa Rose is actually going to be in there in the morning, cool. And she's going to be trying the drink. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I love when Horror Vibes Coffee does collaborations with movies, especially the indie horror films, because it just spreads awareness and it's just a fun way to market a film.
It is. And they've been a great partner. And, we actually just partnered up with another great group called Brutalities, and they have horror teas, and
Oh,
they
nice.
just did a stream soda,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, so it's again, it's these different ways to kind of have fun with it,
Mhm.
and get the word out there and spread, raise awareness about the film, and we're happy to do these collaborations.
Very cool. So you're also a producer on the Terrifier franchise. For fans of the Terrifier films like myself, how would you compare the gore and the violence from Stream with the gore and the violence that fans are used to with the Terrifier franchise?
Well, all I have to say is that Damien Leone does the gore and everything in Terrifier, and Damien Leone does all the gore in Stream. So, there's a lot of similarities, but at the same token, we did want to make sure that Stream was a different film and
Mhm.
that it can stand, on its own legs. So, even though Terrifier and Stream both have very gory and brutal things that happen and creative kills, might I say. We tried to stay away from the Art the Clown specific kind of kills because Art the Clown's not in this movie. It's not a Terrifier. He's a little bit more grotesque in, intestines and hearts. And, you know what I mean? Like, we tried to do something a little different with our kills, and you'll see what they are. But they're just as fun. They're just as creative. Um, and there's stuff that I think that horror fans that may not even like Terrifier, per se, I
Mhm.
think they'll be able to get their feet wet and maybe start going more towards Terrifier with a stream. I think we'll appeal to a little bit more of a mainstream, broader audience for sure, just because of the subject matter. And I think by the time it's all said and done, they'll start falling in love with gore and say, "I'm ready for Terrifier. I'm ready to take." You know what I mean? But it's some great gore, and there's some kills in there that I think you guys are really going to be happy with. And again, like when this was all kind of coming together, we were trying to make sure that we were making a different film from Terrifier to Stream. So I will tell you this: it's not a spoiler, but we slow play you a little bit, and then it's like, oh, okay, there it is. So we like to toy around with our audience a little bit.
Oh, I can't wait for both Stream and for Terrifier 3. I'm like counting down the days to both of these films. They both look so great. And another thing that really stood out to me when I was watching the trailer for Stream was the masks. Do you know how the designs and the look came about for those
Yeah,
masks?
yeah. When you write the script, you're not really sure, what it's going to be. You just say, "Oh, the masked killer," right?
Mhm.
And then it's like, so. It was funny. It was very much inspired. The idea, meaning the concept of how we were going to approach it. The approach was inspired by Damien in a way, whereas he would talk about how he created Arthur Clown was that he took the most iconic clown, scary clown, which was Pennywise. He was colorful. He talked. He had red hair, and he kind of flipped it on its side and said, "We're going to do the opposite of everything that Pennywise is." Art the Clown is black and white. Art the Clown is bald. Art the Clown wears a hat. Art the Clown doesn't talk. So when we were kind of coming up with Stream, I said, let me apply that same kind of technique to, let's say, what's the most iconic horror mask killer? Michael Myers to me. Jason Voorhees, fine. Even Ghostface. They're all these white faces. So we went with this dark face. And when we started with the darker, the black face, it was okay. How do we modernize it? And we went with carbon fiber to give it that technological, look. Originally, it was supposed to be. We wanted it to be an off cell phone screen, but you see that? You see how when it's off, there's a reflection.
Yeah.
So we were worried there was going to be too much reflections of like the other actors, the cameras, or the lights. So we went with the carbon fiber look, and then we decided again have that smile because most horror masks they have either no teeth or they're just closed mouth. So we went again with that different look. There's something about it that's scary. And then the last thing was because there's a gaming element to this film. Being a kid of the '90s, the late '80s, '90s, where you would play video games, player one, two, three, four. The multiplayers would be blue, green, red, yellow. Those are the colors. So we ended up applying those in LED lights in their eyes so you can differentiate which player was what. So again, there's a lot of tie-ins between old horror from the '80s and new modern stuff and gaming. So you know what I mean? Again, it's a really fun ride. It's an entertaining ride, and that's what I want everybody to come out of this and go, wow, I laughed, I cried, I booed, I cheered, I screamed, I was hid. You know what I mean? Like it's a really really fun movie.
Oh, I cannot wait. Since this is a horror film, did anything scary or unusual happen on set?
Yes.
Ooh.
So two things that come to mind. One was we shot this whole thing during COVID, so there was like really nobody in the hotel that we were staying in. It was very Shining-esque while we were there, very empty. We actually went ghost hunting with Danielle Harris, and that was cool, like on the off hours. And one of the rooms that we went in was like the most super haunted room, and they told us this thing. There was like a weird coldness to it. And we actually ended up shooting in one of those rooms. There's a big scene where there's like a fight sequence that's the haunted room in the place. And the microwave turned on all by itself. And we were in the room and nobody else was even near it. It was like
Oh
me
no.
and the DP or like, and it went on and started spinning. That was one crazy thing. Another thing was not scary and like paranormal, but somehow this hotel had not told us that there was one group one night that was staying in the hotel. And so we're doing a scene with David Howard Thornton. He's in the mask and he's supposed to be knocking on hotel doors and looking in the peephole like this. So he's knocking on the door and he's looking in this peephole and we're filming it on the outside with him right on it. And then somebody came out of the room with a gun.
What?
And they had it pointed at the thing. I mean, think about this. You see this guy in this mask and they freaked out. And then finally they saw the lights. They're like, boy, you almost got shot.
Oh my
And we were like, oh
God.
my God. They go, the hotel didn't even tell them we were shooting a movie. They were like, again, during COVID, nobody was really staying there. This must have been a passer through. An empty hotel. We were shooting in another part. And then we came there. They were sleeping. It was like 3, 4 in the morning. And so David will tell the story. It was really funny, but it was also very
Oh
scary.
my God. Well, I'm glad I asked that. Normally I ask that question and people are like, no, nothing happened. But every once in a while I get
You get a
something and
good
it's
one.
just like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So I'm
You know
glad I
what?
asked that.
I'm glad I remembered them.
Yeah, that's really cool. But also, yeah, very scary. Well, Michael, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and telling me all this stuff that I wouldn't have known about the film. Like, I am already so excited for it, but this interview made me even more excited, and I can't wait to look at all these details that now I know. So, as I mentioned earlier, Stream will be in theaters starting August 21st. And like Michael said earlier, get your tickets now, book them now in advance. And thank you, Michael, so much, and congratulations on the release of the film.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to hear what you think. And again, tag at Stream Franchise, follow us at Stream Franchise, and let us know what you think of the movie. Post pictures, post videos, post stuff, because this is how you get the independent stuff out there. We have no big studio behind us. We have no marketing campaign. It's just real horror fans making movies for our fellow horror fans, and we're really honored to be doing this.
Yeah, very true. And I will put a link to your Instagram in the description of this video, and I will also put a link to the trailer so people can check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.